probably explains why.
And
I just freaking downloaded it, so I'm being tracked right now.
If AI's listening, I'm one of the.
We love you.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the I Tap That Cigar Show, presented by Corona Cigar. I am your host, Kevin Shahan, and I'm coming to you live from the Drew Estate Experience Acid Studios here on the sunny Gulf Coast of Florida. Joining me, as always, is Kerr Viajante of Stogie Road Cigars. Kerr.
Yes, sir.
Well, is it me? Does it seem like I know we did a show last Monday. Hadn't it seemed like a month?
It seemed like 10 minutes.
It seems like forever. Like
No.
we haven't done a show, and I'm not nervous this show. Like I'm always nervous because like our guest is like a normal person. Not like we don't have normal people on.
Right.
We have like famous people that make me nervous. Like Laurel doesn't make me nervous. It's I don't know.
Oh.
So
how did you ask me how I'm doing? Is that what?
Yeah, I don't. See, now I feel like people will be like, Kevin, you're not nervous. That you sound awkward.
Hey, Kerr, how you doing? But first of all,
hey, Kerr, how are you doing?
Yeah.
How
I want to celebrate and wish Jessica a happy birthday, belated birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
Jessica turned a big 38.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Happy
Thanks,
birthday.
thanks.
I hope you
I'll
had a
take
good
it.
day. I saw some of the gifts that Kevin got you. I saw that you were at the Dalai Lama Museum.
Yeah. Apparently, I still have a gift coming. So I love delayed gifts.
We do have some gifts coming for you.
Was
Yeah,
it the Dalai Lama
thank you.
Museum?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, okay,
I knew what he
yeah.
meant.
But
Hello, Dolly.
Yeah.
Dalai Lama Museum, where you
So,
get a
Kevin
tongue in the
got
mouth
me-
before you enter.
Kevin got me that cool owl.
Yeah.
That came in the game. Well, you can like it. I said,
Who?
Kevin, it came with like a certificate. Like you didn't name it or anything. And he's like, I was not gonna name your owl, right?
Who?
And so, it would have came in with like fancy lettering on like the certificate. Kevin got me an owl.
Ooh, owl.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, I just got
Yeah.
it. Well,
I'm like, I'm just going to interrupt this right now.
because that would have just kept going on. And
Yeah.
on. But anyway, so I'm just gonna name it Dolly since I went to the Salvador Dali Museum. I was like, yeah, easy.
Well, anyways,
So now I
happy
gotta
birthday.
like figure out how to do calligraphy and
Calligraphy.
fancy
Saying it.
font writing.
Yeah, and sang it.
Saying it,
Yeah.
pronouncing it. No, but happy birthday. I'm glad to see you had a good time. We got some stuff coming your way.
I appreciate that. Thank
So
you.
awesome.
Thanks.
Welcome.
So how you doing, Kerr?
I'm doing fine. I just wanted to wish that I'm doing great. Nice weekend. It rained for like forever. I mean, and it's funny is every time I start complaining about the rain, I thought about you guys and all the shit you went through with the flooding, and I'm like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that.
I did. It did. It was like one of those balancing things for me, but doing pretty good.
Yeah, we've been getting quite a bit of rain. We had one day of quite a bit of rain, and luckily our French drain seems to be fixed when we put the dug the footer for the new cigar lounge. They took out about 12 feet of our French drain, and they disrupted the rock sump.
Yeah.
So I was able to fix that when we put in the new French drain around the lounge. And that was it seemed to be going good.
Yeah, it seems to be working good.
Yeah, it seems to be going good.
We used to get like a ton of standing water on the deck, and I haven't seen it yet. So
Yeah.
that's been
That's
nice. Yeah.
And then I hurt my back at work last Tuesday. So we had to have a guy come out and paint the house, which is good. Painting sucks. It's such a horrible
Now the
job.
house, like everything is just one.
Yeah, the house
color.
is one color. It matches the new addition.
Good.
So
Did you take any pictures?
No, not yet. He just finished up like this late afternoon.
Well, I mean, he never took any pictures of what it looked like before he.
Probably. So yeah.
So,
I think I have some pictures of the house before.
Yeah.
I hate painting too. Painting is like, it's one of those things where I could do it, but I hate it. So I always sandbag it. I always say I don't know how to paint. I'm a decent painter, but I just freaking hate it.
Brutal. And then we got the contractor came out and ground the concrete floors in the cigar lounge. So,
good. You were waiting on that one. That's good.
Yeah, that was one of the last projects. So we're going to get to acid staining the floors in the lounge, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I got shelving coming for the lounge. Well, I got it all priced out. So yeah.
What color are you doing the floor?
Onyx. So black. So just an acid staining black. And then we're going to do
it's not going to have any shine.
Yeah, we're going to do a matte sealer and then a matte wax. So match the matte walls, the matte ceiling, just to control all about controlling that lighting, man. Trying to get it not to go wherever.
Lighting and smoke.
Yeah, lighting and smoke. So
all right.
We'll see how it goes. So
very nice.
All right, I think that's all we got. Anybody got anything else that we should be talking about? So all right, I think that's all. Let's get into the CigarMedics humidimeter cut and light. Remember, with the CigarMedics humidimeter, and my camera is down. My second camera. Oh, it's because I think Skylar unplugged it when she was in here. Let me check.
You're back on.
Get up. No, because I switched it over to my other camera here.
What did you get, Kerr?
Oh, mine was at I think it was at 68%.
There we go. Remember, with the CigarMedics humidimeter, you'll always know when to hold them and know when to smoke them. And I am smoking the AJ Fernandez New World Dorado.
What are you smoking, Kerr?
Is that the Bella Artes?
Yes.
Is it Bella Art?
The Bellas.
Bellas. I thought it was Bella. We're gonna have to ask Laurel how to say that one. And then the same with the Ramon Allones, because I've been hearing people pronounce the L as a Y, Ramon Allones. So I don't know what's going on.
You sounded very southern when you said that.
Ramon
Allones.
Yeah, that's it. Just I got a cutter up here. Oh, where's mine? Okay.
Like one?
And then I also have the New World Dorado Challenge coin.
Well, I have that. They sent it.
Thank you, Jessica, for telling everybody I stole your challenge coin.
Yes, they sent it to me.
They sent Jessica a hat and a challenge coin.
Well, they sent me a whole kit, the smoke.
Yeah.
And all that
Yeah,
stuff.
luckily they sent a couple cigars.
And I allowed you to have one.
She allowed me to have a cigar, wear her hat, and then that was my first dive into the New World Dorado.
Yeah.
Jess, I was having a conversation with Jennifer the other day, and she was talking, and Jennifer, because you Jersey folks like to not use periods when you talk about topics.
Yeah.
So she was talking about the chick who's on Big Bang Theory, Kelly Kuko, and having a baby.
Oh.
And she's with this guy, and then as soon as she started talking about something, and she brought up Kevin. She brought up your daughter, and I can't remember what it was about because I was still on Kelly Kuko because there was no pause or break, and I said, "Well, I think they broke up, right? The guy she's with, I think they broke up." She's like, "No, they didn't." I go, "Well, yeah, I thought I read somewhere that they broke up." And she goes, "Well, they just bought a house together." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know if they bought a house together or not. I know they just had a baby." I said, they got lots of money." She's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I'm like, "I'm still going Kelly Kuko." She's like, "I was talking about Kevin's daughter." In the middle of it, she goes, "I'll ask Jessica." I said, "What is Jessica?" I said, "Just Google." Just Google and see if they broke up. She's like, "I'll just ask Jess." I'm like, "Just fucking Google."
Oh my god.
People will send me a message, and it's just like, asking me a question. I'm like, you literally got on a computer to send me a message. And I go, that's Googleable. So now I have to respond back to you, where you could have just asked the machine, and it could have given you the answer right away.
Right.
And I wouldn't think less of you now for having, taken up my time with that dumb question.
But she's talking about your daughter, and she thinks I'm talking about your daughter, and I'm saying Google it. She says, "Ask Jess." I go, What is Jess smarter than Google?
Yeah. Yes, Jessica,
No, I am
too, does not like to use a period or an Oxford comma.
That is
So-
true. That is true. That is true.
It was a funny moment.
Yeah,
Oh my
that is
God.
funny.
Even Joe was sitting there watching us, and he just like,
Like
I thought you were. I thought you were
still.
still talking about Kelly Kuko too.
Oh my God. it's
Oh
so
my
funny.
God. All right. Well, let's get right into it. Before we bring on our guest tonight, we want to take a moment to thank all of our show partners for making this happen each and every week. We can't do that without them. So thank you to JC Newman Cigars, CigarMedics, Amendola Cigars, We Are the Muscle, Jake Wyatt Cigars, Illusione Cigars, Deep in Flavor, Deep in Your Mind, K by Karen Berger Cigars, Corona Cigar, and of course, Drew Estate and Experience Acid. Jessica's all over here making fun of me because I'm bebopping and boobopping, and I love that theme song. I love that.
Song.
That is the one that she picked out. All right, so waiting patiently in the Experience Acid Green Room
Okay.
is none other than Laurel Tilley of AJ Fernandez Cigars.
Hey.
Laurel, welcome back to the show.
Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're quite welcome. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been too long.
Agreed. I actually think it's been like 2 years.
God, has it been that long?
Yeah.
I know. As soon as I heard the news, I got on LinkedIn and I sent you a message, and 2 months later, you got back to me. I'm like, oh, she's like super busy, or
No.
I'm not as important as I thought it was. So
No, I just don't check LinkedIn messages. Usually they're spam. So I apologize.
oh God,
That's
I don't even know how many I don't even know how many I get. A dozen a day. You know, like someone will send you a message or send you a, hey, join my, they're like a cigar smoker or whatever. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll join your connect. And then like instantly, it's like, hey, let me tell you about them. I'm like, son of a bitch. It's like when you accept a Facebook friend request and then 3 seconds later your messenger dings and you're
Yes.
like,
Hi, how are you?
damn it.
I made a poor choice.
I made a really poor choice there.
Yeah.
And it's like, or just waving at you, and it's like, what do I do?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't have Facebook Messenger anymore. It's just yeah.
Yeah. We're just saying it that. Yeah. We won't say what other messengers you have because then people will be they'll be writing it down. She still has. I'll get to her over here. So
I mean, LinkedIn, not a bad way to go, but like I said, I don't think maybe more than twice have I ever gotten anything of like actual, needing correspondence through my LinkedIn Messenger. It's like, oh, would you like to attend this university? Would you like to do this seminar?
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Yeah, I know.
What gives you the impression that I'm interested in any of this?
Yeah, I know. Have you read anything on my page? Like anything at all?
Yeah.
Like what did you find out about looking at this that thinks I'm interested in that?
I should just change the little header where it's like, you have to give a brief synopsis of your experience. Just put like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Just like a very broad.
Interested in nothing.
Yeah, interested in not more crap, so cigars only.
Yes.
Only reach out to me about cigars, nothing else.
It won't stop it. Though.
No.
It won't because a lot of it's stupid bots.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're gonna start the show off with a game. It's
Ooh.
called 3 Questions with Laurel Tilley. So we're gonna go through some questions and then we're gonna start the show.
Okay.
So they don't have to be detailed. They can be one-word answers. and then we'll move on to the next one. 3 things you miss about Wisconsin.
There's a Chinese restaurant up there that I love. It's one of my favorite places in the world. Emperor of China. Shout out to them on Brady Street. Our friends and family, and frozen custard.
Frozen, yeah. See, we have the Culvers down here. We just ate there the other night.
Culvers is fine. Culvers is fine for people who don't have exposure to frozen custard.
Culvers?
Yeah.
Culvers like 15 minutes from us as well, but it's the same way. There's a pretty shit pizza selection in Nashville, at least the area that we're in. And there's this place that serves like glorified roller rink pizza. And it had really good reviews the first time we ordered it. It had like a 4.7. I was like, okay, clearly whoever rated this 4.7 has never had good pizza.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was me that gave that a 4.7. I'm like, oh my God, this is so much better than that 7-Eleven pizza I had. 4.7, so.
You got to consider the source when someone does give a review. You're like, you all don't know what good pizza is. It's like that in South Carolina. You don't know what good pizza is, so that's why you have good reviews.
Exactly.
It's the same thing. So I'm a mechanic by trade. I work for Tires Plus. We do full repairs. We also do tires. People will come in all the time. Hey, can I order this tire? And I'll be like, that's garbage. Like, why would you want that? Well, I went to TireRack.com and they had like same thing, like 5-star reviews. Like, I would like to talk to a couple of these people and find out what kind of shit box they're driving or where they're at, to figure why they gave a Goodyear Assurance a 5-star review.
Sure.
So you need more. Yelp needs more,
It's all relative, right? Maybe they're 5 stars in their mind because all of the tires they've had previous to that have all been terrible. But
exactly.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? All right, 3 things you love about Nashville.
Ooh, the weather. The hot chicken, which I know sounds cliche, but there's a really great place by us that does hot chicken and beignets. It's best.
That seems like a weird combination, hot chicken and beignets.
Yeah, but I don't know. I've had in Kansas City before, like a hot chicken and a glazed donut before, or like chicken and waffles. So it's that sweet and savory. So it's like the big fluffy beignets with like a fuckload of powdered sugar all over. And the cycling community, like we have a lot of good greenways and there's a lot of good, cycling groups and stuff down here. And I love that. So that's really, that's high in my book.
That's it. What don't you like about Nashville so far?
The humidity, like June or July, August, pretty outrageous. And my hair doesn't do all that well with that. I don't like the airport because it's really touristy. So there's always long lines and it's just like, sometimes it's difficult to get an Uber. And I don't like the lack of good Chinese food. There's a theme here.
Yeah. So have you run into Tim Osninger or John Huber or the guys from Crown Heads yet? They're right there.
So I ran into Tim at TAA in the Dominican Republic, but I have not run into him here. Every time, so I assume Miguel Chodell. So he'll post on Facebook and stuff like him and Tim are going to be around, but then I always happen to be out of town. So I have not caught them in Nashville, but I saw him in the Dominican. Okay.
Now, have you been over to Tim's Performing Arts Center yet?
I have not.
I can't. Well, I've seen the pictures of it. I'd love to get over there and see some of the productions.
Ben has a question.
Oh, I didn't even have the comments pulled up.
Do you prefer Princess 100%.
Hattie B's or Princess Hot Chicken? So,
I like Princess, and honestly, I like Party Foul too. Hattie B's is good, but I find them to be a smidge too greasy, and I'm just not willing to deal with the lines. Like their sides are really good, and I think their food overall is pretty good, but to me, I don't think it's worth the hour wait. On a good day.
Man.
So it reminds me of a story. So I was chatting with John Huber when I saw him up in his office last up there in Nashville, and he's telling me the story about the La Coalición, the cigar they did with Jura State.
Sure.
And that's when Sam Morales was still in the company. They're sitting around the table, they're spitballing names, and then Sam just look. He goes, all right, I got it. And he's like, you guys ready? Hot chicken. And Willie just like, shut up, Sam. It's just, like, yeah, it's kind of a regional thing. Like I didn't know until John told me this, and it's been a couple of years. I didn't know what hot chicken was. So
yeah,
kind of hard to release a cigar called hot chicken. You know?
Yeah, and I think Hattie B's has been featured on enough like food channels that people are becoming more familiar with Nashville being a hot chicken hub. But people ask me all the time how the barbecue is here. I'm like, well, I mean, it's good, but it's not like known for barbecue, whereas Memphis is a little bit more known for barbecue.
Yeah.
But we don't have Gus's here. I don't know if you've ever had Gus's hot chicken.
I've never had hot chicken.
Oh, what?
No, never.
Really?
Kerr, are you South Carolina? That's not too far away. You a hot chicken state?
I don't think so. What is hot chicken?
I mean, it's just like spicy chicken, spicy fried chicken.
That's all.
But some places do like a dry
Then
spice
yes.
in the hub, and then some places do a sauce. I prefer more of a dry spice.
Oh yeah, we did. We went with the Rocky's hot chicken is here. So we've eaten at Rocky's. So yes,
I've never seen it with a sauce. All the pictures I always see of the hot chicken, it's always that dry rub.
Yeah, it's always
There's
the dry
a
rub.
Prince's. You said Prince's. Prince's is a good spot.
I like Prince's, yeah.
Oh, because they have a Prince's here in Greenville.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's good.
There you go.
I wonder if it's the same.
Yeah,
probably.
When I lived in North Carolina, I would go to Nashville and Tennessee and all kinds of stuff, and just
I loved I was only there for a couple of hours when before I met up with John. That's where I flew into Nashville, and I went over to the old car factory. Have you been over there yet? Where the that show American Pickers. I went over there to see their storefront they have, and it's inside the old auto factory. And,
no, I don't think I've been there.
And it's just like a farmer's market and a bunch of cool, places, vintagey places that sells oddball stuff, and but all the old like machinery from the car factory is still there.
Sure.
So it's like taking a step back to the early 1900s.
That's cool.
So yeah, definitely got to head over there.
Oh, that's right. I remember you telling me about that place.
I loved it. I want to get back just to see the rest of the factory.
I feel like there's so much stuff that I haven't gotten a chance to do yet, so I'll keep you updated.
Yeah, that's it. So, do you and your husband have a new thing other than cycling? Do you have a new thing like you guys are like, this is what we do now? We're these people,
I'm a little, I don't want to say embarrassed to admit, but we've become scooter people. So we both ride motorcycles, and my husband has been making noise for years that he wants to get a scooter, like a Vespa.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, well, do we really need it? Like, do we really need more toys? And then we ended up picking up some last year just because sometimes you don't feel like doing the whole putting on the motorcycle boots and the gear. And it's different to be able to hop on a scooter and go. And so that's kind of been our thing.
You can still fall off those.
You can. Actually, we had a friend like really wreck his shit on Sunday on a scooter, and I feel super bad for him. But yeah, so that's probably, we've become like scooter people. And so,
scooter trash. I love scooter trash. Yeah.
And in the summer, we very rarely use the car. We only have one car now. We sold our last one when the car market was hot because we just didn't need it. And we primarily get around on scooters.
That's awesome.
Scooter gang.
Yeah, scooter gang.
Yeah, and mine's this like Dayglow tangerine orange. And it's got like the stupid beaded cabbie seat because the vinyl is just so hot in the summer that like it cooks your ass.
Now, did you actually get Vespas or did you get some like Chinese knockoffs?
So they're buddies. So the company is genuine, and the scooter itself is called a buddy. They're very, I think they're Japanese, but they're like a high end scooter. They're not like some cheap Chinese bullshit.
Oh yeah, I've got buddies that bought those and they can't find parts for them. Like, oh hey, my brakes are worn out, and I'm like, yeah, no, they only sell those with new scooters. Like you can't buy brakes. You have to buy a whole new scooter from China. Well,
because when you're paying $1,000 out of the gate, to part it out isn't even worth it. I bought a scooter. I bought like it was called a Wildfire, some just Chinese whatever when I was in high school. And that's kind of what like started my foray into the two-wheeled world. But you know what? I spent $1,000 on that thing new, and I rode that until the wheels literally fell off. I had zero issues with it. So I think if you find a good one, and it claimed to be a 50cc, but that thing went up to like 65 miles per hour.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to have like a Wednesday built scooter. You got to call the factory. I'm like, where do I send my bribe to, my tip? I need a Wednesday scooter, like right first thing in the morning when everybody's happy. So, all right, next three things. Three things you didn't know about AJ Fernandez, the person, before you came to work. Because I don't know if you worked with him before, but I know like he'd done stuff with General STG, but coming to work for AJ Abdul. Is it Abdul? Abdel. Abdel. Yeah, different nationality. Sorry. 3 things you didn't know about him.
3 things I didn't know. I did not know that he had a young son, Abdelito, who just turned 2 in January, right before we got down there. And he was adorable. And he has a pony. So I guess I could count that as maybe 2. And he actually, Abdel actually breeds Arabians. And he showed us the stables and like his beautiful horses and like the whole setup. And it was pretty neat. So
what? He breeds them down there. Is it a separate farm? Is it like right in the middle of the tobacco field?
So it's actually like right up against one of his tobacco fields, and not very far from where kind of like his compound, where we stayed and where his house is. And so I think he had like 30 when we were there. Geez. And yeah, it bumps up right next to the tobacco fields. And if we're not going to count the pony, I would say the other one is that like. He literally does everything, which is crazy to me because you think when there's that much to do, he would delegate more. He does not. He is like in everything and like on a day to day.
And we're going to get into that later on because I want to know a little bit more about that. But see, Kerr, everybody listening, everybody wants to be in the cigar business. I'm in the cigar, but I make my own cigar. Kerr has his own line of cigars. We all have day jobs because you can't make money doing this. Even AJ Fernandez cannot make money doing cigars. He has to have a side gig of selling horses.
Well, I think that's just as a hobby.
Yeah, I probably.
Side horse gig, Kev.
I am gonna say horses is his side hustle to actually make money.
Damn, could you imagine how badass you have to be from the get-go that Arabian horses is your side hustle?
I know. Yeah, that's it. That's your side hustle. So.
My side hustle would be like driving Uber.
Yeah, I was driving Uber. Yeah. Oh yeah. What do you do? I got raised Arabian horses. I'm like, oh, that's cool too. All right. 3 things you didn't know about AJ Fernandez, the company, prior to joining.
3 things. 1, that we have already been around as an established company for 20 years. It seems crazy. It seems younger than that. But yeah, he's been around for 20 years. Wow. Trying to think of good ones. Honestly, this is a cop-out. I don't know. But I was surprised at how much I love the last calls. I hadn't smoked a last call in quite some time. It's probably been a couple of years. And I started smoking some of the pequeñas because I'm like the world's slowest smoker and I can't spend 2 hours in every account. So I was like, okay, I'm going to smoke these little last calls. And the Habano is freaking awesome. It's not even good for like a $5 cigar. It's just a really good cigar. I'm like, damn, I forgot how good these were. So as like a cigar that we make, I was very surprised by those.
You still make that? That's a surprise to me. I haven't seen a last call and
yeah.
I can't tell you last time I ever seen one in a store.
Really?
Someone smoking one.
Yeah, we do a Habano and a Maduro, and they're all pretty small. There's like a kind of a traditional Robusto, but they're all, like end of the night, get the fuck out, last little cigar of the day.
I just bought Jennifer a couple of them the other day.
Did you?
That was when I traveled. That was my morning smoke. If I was in a hurry, that was my morning smoke with a coffee.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like I said, it's been years since I've had one, so I'll definitely have to keep my eye out for that one. So, and then one more. You said the good ones. What's a bad one? No, I was trying to
do a good example. I feel like I fucked up on the national one because I would have said music, but you put me on the spot and I was nervous. Actually, so I'm trying to learn Spanish, and I don't know if you know Frankie. He's kind of like the director, the U.S. director, and he called me on Friday. He's like, "Oh, AJ wants to say hi to you," and I got all nervous, and at like 4 p.m. said good morning.
Yeah,
even though like I know Buenos Dias is good mornings, but yeah.
How is AJ's English? Because I've never, like I said, well, it's been a long time since I've heard him in a video or in an interview. Is his English good?
Yeah, it is pretty good. He, conversational English, like he's very good at. So he's just not really an events guy. He likes being in Nicaragua, being around the tobacco, doing the blending. So, he speaks perfectly conversational English.
He just doesn't talk to anybody though. But yeah, it's but yeah, I think the last time we had anybody from AJ on the show, it was Omar Fernandez. We had him on a couple years ago. And he told me, which I think he asked me how old I thought AJ was. I'm like, what's he got to be like 50? He's like, no. bro, he's like 35. And I'm like, what? it's just that silver white hair, I guess, that he has. So
no, he is really young. And, and I think part of it too, is when you see him in pictures, he's always wearing the hat in the field. So it's hard to tell. And then you see him in person, you're like, oh, you're young.
Yeah, he's always got the leaf in his hand, the hat, it's always that beautiful backdrop. And it's like, what is going on? So,
yeah. Well, I guess to not belabor this point, I guess my third would be just how big the operation that he personally has out in Nicaragua. He just finished the San Latano factory. We got to see the Dorado fields, which are relatively new. I think you said you were smoking the Dorado.
Yeah.
Those fields are only a couple of years old. So just the sheer scale of the operation of AJ Fernandez Tobacco was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been invited down to there a couple times, Jessica and I, to see the operation, because I've seen it from pictures. Yeah. And obviously it doesn't do you justice when you literally as far as the eye can see. You know, it's just tobacco everywhere.
It is. And it's just so beautiful. And there was an article in Cigar Aficionado a few years ago that talked about AJ literally moving mountains to build out fields. And that is true. So they were actually excavating mountains to make more room for the fields, because that's where the prime growing area is. So crazy.
Wow. That is nuts. Kerr, do you have any 3 things that you'd like to ask Laurel?
No, those were all good 3-thing questions.
All right. Well, let's move on to our first official question of the show. Some people might be wondering, because I introduced you as a Laurel Tilley from AJ Fernandez Cigar. Laurel is known has been the face of Macanudo for a decade now.
Not quite a decade, but
it seems like it literally seems like for like Sean Williams has been the face of Cohiba for 300 years. That's just the way it is. He was, he invented Cohiba.
But I think that's a testament to how good of a job he does. It's like you don't think about Cohiba without Sean Williams. Like, he's just synonymous with it.
Yeah, and same with you. You don't think about, you didn't think about Macanudo without thinking of you. So, why the change? Now, I know, like I said, AJ kind of, worked with General STG. Did he poach you? That's what, because a few people were like, that's kind of a dick move, to go in there and kind of snag their girl. But no, you obviously had to, tread lightly, because we did have a relationship. General STG and AJ still has a relationship. I didn't personally ever really work with AJ that much. Justin Andrews was kind of like the liaison between AJ, and then he was working with Diesel and Punch. But it just came kind of, the opportunity sort of presented itself at a time when I was ready to make a change. I was really, I was happy with Macanudo and what opportunity I had there for the last 6 years, but with most positions there's a ceiling, and I just felt like I needed to be able to do a little bit more. And it's hard because I love the brand and I love the people I work with, and there's a certain level of comfortability in a place that you've been for I said 6 years, but it was time to make a change. And AJ, it felt like the right move. I like the product. And it's just, like I said, everything, without going into the details, everything really worked out, for the timing. And I was really happy with it. It's good. It's good. All right. So why Nashville though? Why did you stop there? Or why'd you choose Nashville versus, coming to Miami or?
Well, so Nashville was a year and a half ago we moved here.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did not move here for AJ. I didn't move here for General either. I just moved here for fun.
To start her scooter gang.
Yeah, excuse me, the lack of scooter gang.
Yeah. She picked up, where is there a lack of scooters?
Yes.
Nashville. We're going to create a thing.
Yeah, there really is a lack of scooters down here. There's a much bigger scooter community in Milwaukee, I'm not going to lie.
So, all right. So, yeah, I didn't know that you had moved down there. So, I mean, when you and your husband were looking to move, were you looking at different places and then you chose Nashville?
Yes. So we had a short list of a few places, and Nashville, Charlotte, Phoenix, Tempe, Scottsdale area. I kind of liked the Santa Fe area, but Santa Fe is out in the frickin' boonies, for what I would have to do for traveling. Ultimately, we settled here in just proximity kind of to the rest of the country. It's pretty central. The airport is big enough that I can get anywhere, but not super busy that, it's like Atlanta, Charlotte, whatever, Chicago. So yeah, just between the weather and kind of the music scene and the food, and apparently like 25% of the rest of the country is freaking moving here. So it's getting really expensive. But no, it's been really good. Honestly, our original intent was to move down here for maybe 4 or 5 years and then kind of just move on to somewhere else. But unfortunately, we like it too much. So I think we're going to stay here for a while.
And it is centrally located. That's why like UPS has like their airport, in that region.
FedEx is out of Memphis.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah, the FedEx hub is Memphis. I think that's actually where FedEx originated too. But yeah, it is pretty central. Like Milwaukee wasn't not central, but a little farther north. So it makes sense. And yeah, kind of like I said, it checked a lot of the boxes, and we've been happy thus far.
So what came first? Your so did you hear like AJ was looking for somebody, and then you decided to make that leap, or were you just not? I don't want to say not happy. It's not the right term, because you had a great gig, but you were looking to move on. Did you look at multiple companies, and then you decided with AJ? Because I mean, you're the face of you could have went anywhere. Yeah. Anywhere would have been great to have you. I just like why.
Well, I appreciate that.
So why AJ?
So, like I said, over the years, I was happy there, but there's a couple of places had reached out. And I was like, oh well, I appreciate the thinking of me, whatever. And it didn't really seem like the right fit. And this just kind of. Somebody had reached out to me, like a friend of a friend, and let me know that they were interested in talking to me. So if I were on board, and then we ended up here. So
perfect. So have you been down, or are you not? I see you obviously been down, but is your role? We'll get into first like what your role is, and then we'll figure out
sure
where you go. So what exactly is your role on in the company?
So my role is brand development manager. It's not entirely dissimilar to what I was doing as far as like going out and doing events and being on the road with reps and seeing people. But right now, we just don't really have any programs internally. Like we don't have a cohesive event platform. There are things just like programs internally that we haven't had set up until now. So kind of working a little bit more on the back end of that. And then also on the other hand, going out and executing and doing the events and working with the reps as well. So it's kind of like a hybrid of what I was doing with more of like the back end responsibility. And, and to be honest, that's kind of, what I was hoping for a little bit too, is just more of a chance to make an impression. So it's been good so far.
Yeah, because you don't see because Kerr, do you? We don't get AJ events near us. Do you ever? Because it's not something that you see. Do you see AJ?
Yeah, we got AJ, but I don't see AJ Fernandez. We have AJ events.
Oh yeah. No, we don't see it too many. Or I can't remember the last time we had an AJ event near us. And that's what
we had one at Boda Pipe. Says Daryl Iverson. My buddy Daryl's the biggest AJ fan on the planet.
That's why we love Daryl.
Yeah.
He is. It's he definitely is. But I was at Boda Pipes. I think it was several months ago.
All right. So do you have mainly? Is it all in-house reps? Do you use a combination of reps and brokers?
So we have all in-house reps right now, and that is new. So for a long time, it used to be a combination of brokers and in-house, and they slowly went the way of having in-house. So right now we have 9 reps. And as we continue to grow, it'd be great to have, more coverage throughout. But so kind of right now, the company is at sort of this pivotal point where we want to grow and have more of those cohesive structures. And, it just doesn't happen overnight, but that's kind of the main projects we've been working on right now, is just sort of getting all these programs in place.
All right. Who's my rep here in Sarasota, Florida? Do you know who that is?
In Sarasota, you would have Kyle.
Kyle.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll keep my eye out for Kyle. And so what about the rest of the AJ team? Because AJ Fernandez is a huge company. And like I said, and I didn't know if they used reps. I didn't know if they used brokers. Like you don't hear, like a lot of these companies, you'll see like members of the team. Like how big is, I mean, do you have a marketing team? Do you have, this team? You have sales? How big is like the company?
I mean, not very. Like I said, we have 9 reps on the road. Myself, and I'm kind of just like, wearing a couple hats right now. We have Frankie, who is our director, and we have we have like the people in the office and in the warehouse, and then over in Nicaragua we have AJ himself, Freddie, who's kind of the operations manager over there and kind of oversees everything between like the U.S. and Nicaragua, and Starkey, who is doing some graphic design and some marketing. So it's pretty limited right now, but it's between all of us, we can get it done.
That's it, Kerr. I mean, that doesn't seem like that many people for such a large company, does it?
No, yeah, it's a big operation.
It's a well-oiled machine there.
It definitely a well-oiled machine, because I figured you'd have at least like a huge, like a social media team, because you guys do good, posting photos, social media. And
that's all Starkey. So yeah, no, we don't. I mean, it's not a super extensive team. No.
God, he must be.
Kevin, think about how much you could do in social media if it was just you all day long with one company.
Yeah. A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good answer, Kevin.
Yeah. But like I said, it seems like he's got 9 other jobs. Everybody's got 9 jobs. At AJ, everybody does just a little bit of everything.
Well, and that's what's nice too, is like when I came on board, they're like, look, you might be hired on to kind of, do these things, but like, don't let that stop you. If you want to be involved in something else, be involved in it. If you want to submit an idea for something, tell us your idea. So it's kind of cool that it's a little bit more like intimate, because it's not like there's a boundary like where, well, this isn't my department, I can't have input. Like, the answer might be no, or like that's a terrible idea, but you're not like barred from doing so. You can kind of like just float around, and everybody's ideas are listened to, because it is smaller. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like when we hire the new kids in the shop, then we have them doing something else. Hey, that's not what I got hired to do. Yeah, we didn't tell you that at your, when we hired you. But guess what? Your job is everything.
Yes.
We all do everything.
What is it? Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
Yes, but I don't like that phrase. I prefer to say the whole thing. That
phrase, Kev.
A jack of all trades, a master of none, still better than a master of one.
True.
So, yes.
Yeah, master of none is not a good indication, because it's like, I mean, you could still be a pretty decent master of multiple things.
Yeah, that's it. So now you've been with AJ for how long? How long have you actually been with the company? It's only been a few months.
Yeah, not very. I started in early January 3rd. Yeah, I think the 3rd.
Okay, so we hear like through like the cigar world, like on our side, that AJ is very demanding. Which is it's evident in his cigars. Like he is just demanding when it comes to quality control, and he can be difficult. Sometimes. Have you experienced any of that? AJ's passion when it.
Honestly, no, and it's funny because a couple people have brought that up to me, but I mean, he really. Every interaction I've had with him has always been, very pleasant and very kind. In fact, he called me on Friday to, thank me for, doing a good job and my passion for the product, which it tickled me, I was like, oh, that was very sweet. Thank you. And I think it's hard because everyone has a different relationship with people, right? There's been people throughout the cigar industry over the years. They're like, oh, this person is really difficult to work for. I'm like, well, you have a different relationship with them, right? I think he just, he knows what direction he wants the company to go, and he's very passionate about the products and knows he has a good product to put out there and wants it done a certain way. But yeah, I've never had any personal experience where I found him to be, difficult or anything. He's been he's always been very kind in, you know, our interactions, and just even the way like everyone else at the company has functioned here in my time here. I have not seen that.
So yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it either. I've only heard, you know, and like I said, and it's always about his passion. It's always about, you know, it's never compromising. It's just that's usually where I get the difficultness, you know, from AJ. It's when people want to compromise on something and then he won't do that.
Well, and that's exactly it too. I mean, it's, you know, it's his company and his products. And I think to a point, you know, part of my role here, not to get like too far down this rabbit hole, is helping differentiate between AJ Fernandez portfolio and the AJ Fernandez collaborations that he has done. And when we're looking at like portfolio products, those are cigars that he has blended for himself, for his company to put out to market, you know, 100% his brainchild. Whereas like working with collaborations and stuff, you know, there's still confines within, you know, that you have to work. So I think, like you said, it boils down to passion, but yeah, he's been nothing but super nice. So been very happy so far.
Yeah. And it must be nice. Like you said, he called you up, you know, versus a big company, you know, like General STG or whoever it is, you know, even Drew Estate, big companies now, you know, that you can call like the owner and be like, hey, I got an idea. Like STG, like I don't even know is there an owner? It's a group. I don't even know who you would call. You know, you probably had this chain of command that was many dozens ahead of you.
Yeah, you know, at STG, I mean, they're a big company, right? You know, so there's a big sales team, a big marketing team, and it's not, so General was like the US premium division, and then there's other divisions like CI and stuff and whatever. But, you know, to STG's credit, they were always good about listening to ideas, and I was part of like the blend summit, so we would go down and like smoke new blends for not only like Macanudo but Cohiba and CAO and Punch and Diesel and whatnot. So we were still always together, and you know, it's not like you got just like totally lost in the shuffle, but just, you know, going from a company like that to a company like AJ, you know, they're different. They're just two very different companies in every way. So, you know, it's just kind of learning the different ways of working. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty cool that, you know, he rang me up.
I know that's awesome. I love that. You know, now, yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, not my earphone out. I had a question. Question, Kev. Sorry, I was sloppy over here. When you're talking about the differentiating between the AJ brands and the collaborations, and you said that there are some restrictions, limitations with the collaborations, is that more restrictions with other folks have to okay it, or is it restrictions with the tobacco, or is it a little bit of both?
You know, it could be either or, it could be both. It just depends on, you know, it's submitting a you know, kind of an idea for a blend. So it's like, okay, well, it's using this tobacco, but we're doing the blend you want, or it's, oh, this is the blend I want, but you know, maybe it's not necessarily what they're looking for. Now I can't really speak to that as much because that's not my department. But you know, when you're working with other companies, there's obviously still kind of guidelines like you have to be in. So they're saying, oh, well, we're looking for this, we want that. Whereas, you know, the portfolio stuff is, oh, AJ blended this and he really likes it and he wants to bring it to market. So it's just 100% all what he wants to do.
Right. Okay.
As it should be. You know, it's his company. Now I'm going to go back to, because it just reminded me of a question, because I know you probably still have your, you know, in the General STG, you know, you have your pulse. People probably tell you things. Is it true that this is the rumors going around today that STG is buying Davidoff?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I still talk to a lot of people over there because, right, you don't totally throw away the relationships, right, for the last 6 years, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, I have not heard.
Yes, you heard it here first. Laurel Tilley confirms she did. That's what I'm going to put out. Yeah. I'm going to take perfect. That. I'm going to take that clip tomorrow, and then, you know, like, do you heard? And you're going to just be like, yeah. I'm like, all right, it is confirmed here on the So,
well, I thought I left on a good note, and now I just ruined it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah,
because you're going to show up on the editing floor.
That's it. Because you'll still be working. Obviously, you'll still working. You know, part of your role, you'll be working with the old company, correctly? I mean, because that's part of your job.
Yeah, me not so much. No. the blending that AJ is doing for STG, like I said, Justin Andrews handles a lot of that. Even when I was over there, I wasn't personally doing any work with them. So, I mean, maybe down the line, but right now, kind of where I am at AJ, I wouldn't really be working with STG. But I did not hear those rumors. I mean, if they are, congratulations, I guess. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're just rumors, but I don't know.
I heard they bought Alec Bradley, so I can confirm that.
God, they're so rich now, so rich. It's sick.
Ashes and alcohol.
What's that?
The question.
What do you think the best collab project is or was? And then, yeah. Now, did you? I'm gonna back up for a second before you answer that. Or not back up. Did you have any idea how big or how many collaborations that AJ did? Like it still blows my fucking mind. Yeah.
And it's funny that you say that because not last week I was talking to my boss and I was like, "Hey, do you have a list of everything that we've done just like for my own frame of reference?" Because I'm still kind of just learning everything. But yeah, it was pretty extensive, and and I know this year we're still doing collaborations, obviously, but trying to focus some more time and energy into the portfolio as well. But yeah, it's there's a lot out there. But honestly, like from the SCG standpoint, I was really happy with what he had done with like the Excalibur, like the Dark Sumatra. The old Excalibur blends were always something that really spoke to me. I hated that people overlooked them because it was like, not a new cigar and everybody always wants what's new. So I thought that the blend that had been around for a long time done by AJ with his tobacco and his fermentation process just was like crazy, breathed whole new life into it. And it was an amazing blend. So that's personally probably one of my favorites that he had done. Probably not popular opinion. I know that like the H. Upman and the Monte Cristo were also really good. The H. Upman one was great.
That H. Upman one, I just smoked another. I mean, I've probably smoked 5 or 6 of those in the last month.
Yeah,
and that's my favorite. One of my favorite. I don't say my favorite.
Monte Cristo.
Yeah,
with the white band, the Monte Cristo.
Yeah, the Monte Cristo with the white band.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
that cigar is just one of the best cigars I've ever smoked.
Yeah. Well, and he has a very distinct, blending and fermentation style. So regardless if it's like the collaboration or something like in portfolio, you always know it's blended by AJ. And I think that's what the cool thing is. And people want to say like, oh, you do a lot of collaborations or whatever. Fine, but that also helps get his name out into the market and, sort of builds him up as this really, reputable guy in the tobacco industry, helping kind of bring people back to portfolio as well. But yeah, you always know like the signature AJ stamp when you're smoking one of his cigars.
What blew my mind was when I was in St. Augustine, I found the Caldwell line by AJ Fernandez.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I could never had seen one of those cigars around this area or anywhere else.
Yeah, and he had done, I know in the beginning of the show for the sponsors, there was the Karen Berger. He had done one of her anniversary cigars that was really, really good.
That
really good.
So good.
One of my tops is the one he did with the Karen Berger, and then I think the best one to date is the Viva La Vida from Billy and Gus Fakir.
Sure.
That's a good
cigar. My god! And they're just getting ready to launch, or they just launched the El Pupo. Have you tried that one yet?
I haven't tried this year. I had the El Pupo from last year, but we're not handling those anymore.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, not. Yeah. You're still making them. You're just not doing the distribution, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. I was just talking to Billy the other night. Talking about he was letting me know about the distribution deal and all that. And,
I wasn't super familiar with Viva La Vida until I had kind of come on board here, and then I started smoking some of them. I was like, oh, these are not a bad cigar.
Yeah,
not a bad cigar at all.
It just a couple of guys that I mean that cigar when it came out, it just blew up.
Yeah,
and they never they were pressured, to hey, when your next one's coming out? When's your next one come out? They're like, it's going to come out when we perfected the blend. I think that was the first cigar, the Viva La Vida, that AJ ever put his name on the box or the band. It was something like that.
Okay,
he had never done on any of his collaborations actually put his name on like the box.
Sure.
So a great cigar. Absolutely love that one. And those guys over there. But yeah, I can only imagine. I would love to see that list. I can't even imagine, because I still come across a cigar every now and then. And then I'll look like, who is this? And I'm like, oh my God. Fucking AJ.
Yeah. Well, and I like to be, like know everything that I can going into it, right? And I'll hear someone talking about it. I'm like, oh, that's right. There's another. That's one too, or like, oh, that's one too. And then, somebody asks the question like, "What's your favorite one?" I'm like, "Oh no, I don't know. There's a couple options, but yeah, it's good." But
yeah,
I didn't know he did the that Henry Clay Warhawk, the limited edition.
Wait a minute, that was AJ?
Yeah, that's what I was told at the cigar shop.
Oh man, that was
AJ.
a great. Yeah, I got it.
The Rebellious limited edition.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he did that as well. I did. Like I said, just one of those. Every time I'll hear of a name, and it's like AJ did it. Now you're talking about like.
Yep.
How it is?
Yep. It was done at the Tabacalera Fernandez factory.
I love that cigar.
But now that cigar is fantastic.
It is. And then now you're talking about like how small the team really is. It's like how is like. Is there like people showing up every day? Like, how does he? I don't understand how he does this. Like, without this giant team.
When we were down there for the sales meeting in January, just looking at the sheer scale of the operation was anxiety inducing. I'm like, how do you do this on a daily basis? Like, how do you as a one man, I mean, like, obviously he's got people down there too, but like, go over this whole thing. But yeah, I mean, Frankie does a really good job, and our sales guys have been out there, hustling. We've had some guys who have been with us for 10 years and some people who have been with us for 2 or 3 years. So, yeah, it's just, it's managed to operate really pretty successly up until this point. So hopefully we just kind of can keep that train rolling, right?
That's it. I just wonder, like, could I just show up at the farm and like, hey, Jay, I want a cigar. I can be like, all right, let's just do, I don't, because
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, probably not me. Yeah, no. That's definitely not me. But yeah, it's insane. It's insane to think about his portfolio and just think about how like small like the company really is.
Yeah.
You talk about. There's some we get some of these boutique guys on. They talk about their company 20, 25 people deep, and it's just like, and you're a tiny company making like 2 or 3 cigars, and AJ, making 100 different blends.
Yeah, and and everything that's done as a collaboration, that's not handled by us. We just simply make it, and then their marketing teams and everything else are handling it. But we have 7 different lines with 17 different blends total. So it's really not like that much, but it's still, I guess at that point, it doesn't matter if you have 7 different lines or, 20 different lines, you still have to have, people working on it. So.
Oh yeah. And then a lot of people don't know AJ grows is it the majority or all of his? Has he gotten so big where he's buying tobacco now, or is it still everything coming from his? Oh,
he grows farm? Everything. He grows everything. Yeah. And everything is vertically integrated. The only thing he doesn't do, is boxes, but I think it's his brother who owns the box factory. But when we were down there, I was like, he had just opened a new warehouse to house back orders at the new San Latano farm. He's like, so this is all empty. This is going to be all extra product, so we can eliminate back orders and everything. I was like, oh, given everything else, I was like, would you consider having a box factory? And he told me, no, I don't have a passion for boxes.
I know a guy. I know a Fernandez. That does that. So how many you say he just opened up the new San Latano? Is that the San Latano warehouse or San Latano factory? Is that a factory?
Yeah. So it's like a factory and warehouse. And I don't know exactly where in Nicaragua it was. Like spatially, I did not understand where I was when we were down there. Like we flew into Managua, went up to Esteli, and then to the San Latano factory, drove like an hour and a half, 2 hours from Esteli. So I don't remember where it was in relation to kind of like the main area in Esteli we were staying. But yeah, it's relatively new. And it's beautiful. Every single building we went to was like, oh my God, like even just like the landscaping and the tropical plants and the just the whole atmosphere is top notch.
So how many factories does he have now?
I think just the 2. So there's the main one in Esteli and then the other one up at San Latano. So 2, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. I'm like 99% sure.
that's and like I said, I'm just trying to wrap my head. 2 factories, all of these blends. So absolutely mind-boggling.
Yeah, he's always working for sure.
So talking about the AJ's core blends. Now, how are you pronouncing some of these? Is it the Bella Artes?
I was laughing at the beginning of the show when you guys were talking about it because people are like, "You need to stop naming these in Spanish."
I have been not just for AJ. I've been saying that for years. Some of them, and that one, and that's the only one is the band that I'm not a huge fan of.
Okay. The Bayas?
The band, because it's hard, because if you're looking at it, like it's unless you see the box,
sure,
you can't see it.
Okay, I love the band, but I understand like legibility wise.
Legibility, it's really hard, hard to see that name that's on there.
So it's Bayas. It's Bayas Artes, and it's the namesake of the National Cuban Museum of Art. So we do a Habano and a Maduro, and it's kind of like bringing art to life. They're both super complex blends. The Maduro uses like 7 different countries of origin, a Brazilian Matafina wrapper. It's the Bayas Artes, which is the Cuban Museum of Art. So now you know. And then I think the other one you were having trouble with was what, Ramon Alones?
Alones, yeah, because I've heard people because I've always said Alones, and then lately, like last month, I've heard that pronounced so many. I'm like, have I been saying it wrong?
Yeah, well, I think double L in Spanish is pronounced like a Y, so I think it's probably technically like Ramoniones.
That's you said it better than I did. So yes, so maybe they were trying to Spanish it up, like don't church it up, dirt. Like yeah.
All right, I'm going to interrupt because there's going to be 2 questions that are just going to take you away from your notes, Kevin.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, yeah.
So we have to ask, because Manny asks all our guests if you've ever watched Oak Island or Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh my God. So I have watched 1 episode of Skinwalker Ranch because it was recommended by a friend, and I was, no offense to people who like it, not a fan.
Okay.
And I have never seen the Oak Island one, but I have a couple friends who very religiously watch it. I myself do not indulge.
Okay.
Yeah. We are not watchers of Oak Island, but we are addicted to Skinwalker Ranch.
Okay, I've heard it's good. I just really haven't given it a try. I watched 1 episode, and my husband was like, "No," so we haven't watched it.
If you watch 1 episode of Oak Island, you got the whole premise of the whole series.
I heard it's pretty repetitive.
Yep.
Pretty. Same with Skinwalker Ranch. They're always looking for something.
I'll tell you, this new season though is actually pretty exciting. Like last season was, but this season it looks like at least you're getting some. They're doing some cool like experiments and stuff.
Yeah.
To get data, so that makes it kind of and from a sciencey perspective.
So what
from like a technical standpoint, fine.
Yeah. So what are you and your husband? What are you guys binging on the regular?
So we watch a lot of food shows. We recently discovered one that isn't that old, but there's like 6 seasons and a new one is coming. So yay, called Somebody Feed Phil. So he was the producer of Everybody Loves Raymond. And he's just got this like really quirky personality, and he travels around the world, and kind of like Anthony Bourdain, where he goes to like different places and eats food, but his personality is just so great. And every time he eats something good, he does this like little dance. And we were out to dinner the other day, and I was eating something, and I was like doing a little Phil dance. I'm like, okay, this is clearly rubbing off on me.
That's awesome.
Now do you or Kerr, Jen does this as well? Because I catch Jessica doing this when she's like really she gets hangry, and then when she finally eats, like she hums, like and I'll see her, and then she'll be like bouncing and hum.
Yeah.
No, there's no humming in my house.
Yeah, no humming.
There's no humming in my house.
Apparently, I do it a lot, and he actually pointed it out to me the other day, and I like kind of caught myself when he said it, and I was like, I do that.
Yeah.
But, like I don't know that I'm doing it, and I was like, this is so bizarre now that I'm aware that I'm doing it. It's so crazy. And then Ben had a question.
Oh, what was
what's your favorite lounge in Nashville?
Oh yeah,
like favorite cigar lounge.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, see, lots of different ones for lots of different vibes, and I don't want to offend anybody, but I really like hanging out at Smokers Abbey East. Josh and Nate, cool guys. They've got 2 locations, and the one in East is it's around like a lot of restaurants I like, and I can cycle there. So that's a fun one. If I want to go and like be fancy and have good cocktails. There's one cigar. It's called Bar Special, and it's pretty cool. So there's a lot of good ones. I mean, there's a couple local ones around me here too, and I know there's like a Casa, which is really nice here, and the Davidoff Lounge is really nice here. But it's a really good cigar scene. The cigar scene down here is much more robust, no pun intended, than the Milwaukee cigar scene.
The Milwaukee. And we want to welcome to the show Boston Jimmy. We'll have Boston Jimmy on the show in a couple of weeks. We're going to be talking about his trip to Japan, climbing Mount Fuji.
Awesome.
For autism awareness. So definitely check out in the video description for a link to that. Jimmy was just on KMA Talk Radio this past weekend, so definitely check out that interview. I didn't get a chance to catch all of it yet. So we'll have Jimmy on. So definitely donate if you can. What about climbing? Are you? I don't have a lot of mountains in Nashville, I guess.
No, but people go hiking.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hiking and
Are you outdoorsy? Because I know you like biking.
Yeah, I am outdoorsy. Nashville's kind of in a bowl though. So if you go east or west, it's more mountainous. If you go like even to Chattanooga, which is about 2 hours like southeast, it's really, really nice. But yeah, not so much climbing out here, but some hiking. There's a lot of good waterfalls, hikes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we did.
I took Kevin and we found if you ever go like to Waynesville, like Maggie Valley, you have to go like Soco Road up to Cherokee. You have the Soco Falls.
A lot of great
amazing waterfall.
A lot of great hiking.
And then Hendersonville has the natural rock slide
yes.
from the waterfall. It's so much fun.
Yeah, and Hendersonville it's not that far from where we are. No. We're right on Old Hickory Lake, and Hendersonville is literally just across the lake. But the way that the reservoirs are here and the way that the roads are set up, like as the crow flies, we could be 3 miles from something, but it's like 27 miles to get to a bridge that will cross this water. You're like, y'all need more bridges.
Yeah. Kerr, has your Stogie Road journeys taken you into Nashville a time or two?
Yeah, once. It's been a while.
Just the once.
Yeah, just once.
Yeah, because how far is Nashville from you, Kerr?
5.5 hours.
Okay, so not too far. Now Jimmy had put up Jessica. Can you put that up there? The red phone booth.
Red phone booth is cool.
I keep hearing about that.
There's one here, there's one in Atlanta, and I think there's a third location, but I don't remember where.
Oh, I didn't know. I'd always heard about the one in Nashville. I didn't know they had
one in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah.
But you need to have a membership and have a code, and the number to get in changes every like couple months or something. So I'm always texting people. I'm like, what's the number to get into the red phone booth? So to me, sometimes it's just more effort than I'm willing to put in to try to get in.
Ben said that you should check out
Obed.
It's about an hour from Nashville.
Great. Okay.
Hiking, kayaking,
I will.
And climbing. Now have you what about zip lining? Do you do zip lining?
I have not done zip lining in probably 15 years. I am not opposed to zip lining, but it's just not something that I think about doing.
Are you going to tell her what we
did?
So
we went to it was zip line. It was right outside Louisville.
It's in Kentucky.
Okay. They have the underground zip lining.
Oh yeah, it's a bit like a lot of cave systems up there.
Oh yeah, and
this is like, it is wild because it is dark.
Oh yeah,
it's
up there. Is Kentucky on top of Nashville? I didn't know. Yes. I don't know things.
Yes.
I don't know where.
North.
It's right above there, Kev.
Yeah. So I didn't know where. I thought it was below you guys.
Yeah, we're only like 30 miles from the Kentucky border, so we're pretty far at the top of the state.
Oh, okay.
Nashville as a whole is pretty far up.
Okay. Yeah, I don't. They always tease me. I don't know where things are anywhere.
Yeah, Tennessee is long and narrow.
Yeah. Yes, I know that. Yeah, driving straight through, side to side takes that's about as long as.
But I would say for zip lining, that just is so cool.
That seems cool.
I'm sure.
It was so fun.
Yeah, we had
underground zip lining.
Yeah. We saw it on a billboard. We were in Bristol. And then we saw zip line and the Louisville Mega Caverns.
Yeah.
So it was like 6 months. It's like 6 months later or something.
But you bike, so they also do a whole bike route.
Oh yeah,
like in the cavern, you can go biking and everything.
Yeah, because some of the caverns were man-made,
sure.
during the mining during one of the wars, and But yeah, so yeah, we saw it, and then like 6 months later, we're like, hey, let's just go to Louisville.
Yeah.
You know, just do some zip lining.
Yeah.
Out of the blue.
I haven't spent a significant amount of time in Louisville. I went up there actually just about a year ago. I had missed a concert of somebody I wanted to see in Nashville because I was, surprise, out of town. But then they were playing in Louisville over the weekend. I was like, well, let's just drive to Louisville. And so went up there and hit some of the distilleries and bars and restaurants up there. So it's pretty cool, but it's not that far. It's only like 2.5 hours from us, but it feels like, oh my God, to go to Louisville for the weekend.
Yeah.
That's it. Plus, it sucks with their smoking bans in Louisville, and
there's not really anywhere to smoke. You have to go over into the Indiana border, like go over the bridge.
Yeah, we smoked like halfway across the bridge, where you could actually light a cigar halfway over that bridge.
Yeah, we wanted to smoke, so we rented those bird scooters, and we were trying to like scooter around the city and smoke a cigar at the same time. But it was so cold; it ended up being like 42 degrees, and my fingers were like permanently gripped to the scooter. Like I couldn't even get the cigar to my mouth because I had lost all dexterity and like motor function of my hands.
What's a bird scooter?
Like the stupid little scooters you rent in the cities that terrorize cars and pedestrians.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking
Lime bird.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like the duck trucks. You know, you had like a bird scooter. I'm like, well, we missed the bird scooters.
Yeah, like the little electric scooters that you like pay for with your app.
Oh yeah, and then you just drop them wherever.
When they die.
Yeah. Oh, and then they're everywhere. They're taking over. Now, some cities are banning them.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, people, I don't know. I guess it's like if I'm on it, then I don't care. But if other people are on them on the sidewalk, I'm like, get off the fucking sidewalk. You know, because like if you're going to be on the sidewalk, at least be respectful of pedestrians. Like I totally get not wanting to ride on the street because cars do not pay attention. But then they're like mowing down other people. So like, slow down.
We were in Miami. They were just all over the place. And the next morning, it looked like a tornado went through and just tossed them all around.
Oh yeah. Down there in Miami, they got like the guys on guys and gals with trucks. Going, picking them up, recharging them, swapping them out, putting them up on the, their little wherever the little stations are at. Because like I said, they're everywhere. They just drop. Yeah.
And now they have the ones that you can sit down on. And I had seen these in San Diego years ago. And I was like, this is a horrible idea for drunk people because, I mean, it's literally like a scooter, like a pretty high-powered electric scooter that you can sit on and take on the roads. That I was like, oh, yeah, people are going to, like, wreck their shit on these. And they started putting some here. I was like, that's not good. Yeah, the drunk population here is already pretty bad. So.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, Manny picking his skin-tight bikini gear. He's talking about me, not you, with my beard blowing. I'm not a scooter guy. It's I like I said, I've just seen the aftermath of people, like I said, zipping in and out of, people and traffic. Yeah. And you hear about the stories, the accidents, someone killed on a stupid scooter.
Yeah. It's like, you're downtown and try to be cautious, but there's been a couple people who like squirrel trying to cross the road. They don't even look. They just go. I'm like, dude, I mean, like I literally almost hit you. Like there are cars that are bigger than you, but.
Kerr, I didn't see. You guys don't have the scooters yet. I didn't see them last time I was up by you.
No, we got the bikes.
Oh, you got the bikes?
Yeah, I haven't seen the scooters yet, but we got the bikes. But I can tell you this: I always see them in racks. I never see them laying around or anything. They're always nice.
Well, I think the bikes you have to return to the racks.
No.
Oh, you do? You gotta like put one in a rack.
Yeah. Otherwise, it doesn't stop. But like the scooters, you can leave everywhere, but they have to be within like. Because there's certain places that you can't scooter and it will shut off on you. So you have to like leave it. Ask me how I know. So you can leave it anywhere that it's in like a zone that accepts them. But the bikes, I think, doesn't shut your payment plan or your payment off until you return it to the rack.
That's smart.
That's the way it should be, so people aren't just dropping them just everywhere. And which makes sense, like a full-on bicycle just laying around.
Oh yeah,
that's a little more annoying than a scooter, but
they're both annoying. That scooter laying around was just ridiculous.
It's absurd. Like if you're gonna just drop it haphazardly, like people just literally leave it in the middle of the sidewalk, and you're like, seriously, you can't even just move it over into the grass a little bit?
No, scooter trash. So
scooter trash.
It is. So we're gonna get back.
That should be your gang name when you're on.
Butch and I thought about that years ago. We wanted to buy scooters and have a vest that said "scooter trash" on them.
Yes.
That's
so
awesome.
That's it. So getting back to cigars, since a cigar show, one thing that I have heard, like in the past, especially with like newer cigar smokers, AJ cigars are. I mean, like I said, if you look at any of the bands, like the Ramon Alones here, beautiful, beautiful band. You can tell this is a super premium, elegant cigar. I've heard like just from like some newer cigar smokers, like it's a little, I don't want to say off-putting, but like they're a little scared of jumping into, a super premium cigar. It's like, oh, I don't know if I'll enjoy that. It seems like it's always been, I don't want to say catered to
Too pretty,
catering towards a more
sophisticated smoker.
Refined.
There you go. Thank you. I couldn't put those words out. Have you found that, or is there any indication from AJ that maybe he wants to come out with some newer, edgier stuff? Is that something, maybe a goal of yours?
So when you say like newer, edgier, I guess I don't want to misunderstand your question, because we make two blends that are like more approachable for maybe newer smokers that aren't like, a lot of the stuff that we do is kind of like medium plus to full bodied, heavier Nicaraguans. You get some of that like Nicaraguan spice and everything. Like there's obviously a theme in his blending style, right?
Yeah.
The New World Connecticut and the San Lotano Connecticut are both more approachable. I don't want to say like beginner cigars, because you don't have to be a beginner to enjoy them. But
I guess my point was, it's not the blending or the cigars that
it's
maybe
look of the band.
It's the look. You go into a lounge and you see you see a Drew Estate, you see a Camacho, you see a Macanudo, you see cigars that that are a little with bands and boxes that are a little fun, a little edgier, and then you've got like you got like AJ, and you've got
very classic.
Very classic.
Yeah, very classic.
Look, and people maybe get turned off by that. Is that
Do you think? I mean, and I'm not trying to be like argumentative here, but do you think that is the case, that people see something that looks a little more traditional and they're like,
I don't think so. I think people maybe get a little intimidated.
Okay. Maybe that's the word I was looking for. They get a little intimidated about smoking a Bea Artes, versus anything else, just because they don't know what it's about, because it's a classic blend.
Yeah.
So you're saying like the name and the look of the band of that cigar versus like the Last Call.
Right.
Yes.
Very, kind of synonymous with Last Call, drinking, and then the band's pretty simple and straightforward, versus a more throwback to the classic bands, which a lot of AJ's stuff has.
Yeah.
It's very, like you said, it's an homage to that Cuban-esque look. I love the traditional bands. I do. I've never been a big fan of some of the newer, flashier colors. I love that old school throwback.
I don't, to kind of hopefully answer your question. Sorry, I'm trying to turn this light on behind me here. I don't right now see us really changing the packaging. Like, we went through a San Lotano refresh not that long ago. And I know that kind of the brand feel right now is a little bit more traditional. San Lotano is an homage to AJ's roots in Cuba, and New World is an homage to kind of like, the discovery of tobacco in the Americas. And so everything kind of story-wise and blend-wise is a little bit more traditional. So right now we don't have any plans to make something that's kind of out of that more like red, gold, traditional Cuban-esque look, but never say never.
Okay.
And as far as the blends themselves, I mean, I want to see what where we're at in a year as far as what we're releasing. The biggest new one right now is the Dorado, which is what you were smoking, and then we've got a new size of the Dorado coming out. But yeah, kind of sticking with that theme for now.
Okay.
But I think with like younger people, I mean, no offense, like if they go towards more of like the gitchy looking kind of bands to start smoking, they're gonna be at a cigar lounge or be around other cigar smokers who are eventually going to introduce them to different types of cigars. So I don't think it really matters like what they first start smoking with. It's kind of more like how their palate develops and where they end up, and who and do the research and do the get the knowledge of certain cigars and tobaccos that they like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And if you want that flashier, edgier, that's what AJ makes so many cigars. That will give you that still AJ. That tasting, like you said. When you smoke an AJ, it's an AJ.
Yeah.
So you can have those. But I am gravitated towards, flashier bands, like something that just draws my eye. That looks new. It looks young. It looks like it's hip. And it's not something that my grandfather would have smoked.
I have to throw this up.
What? Wait, when did Laurel start repping AJ last time? Yeah. So Matt. Yeah, it's been
late to the party.
Yeah, been since beginning of the year, Matt. So yeah. So, but yeah. So I look at like the Ramon Alones. I see. Oh, that's a cigar my grandfather smoked. Maybe I don't want to smoke that. I want something, like said, edgier. So I didn't know if that was anything that was ever in the works of creating something, but that, that's not AJ either. So
yeah, and like I said, right now I'm not sure, but down the road as we continue to develop potentially. But yeah, everything we kind of have right now is a little bit more of that, like that traditional look and feel and smoking experience. So yeah, he knows what he's good at, I suppose. So
that's it, and that's why I hired you as well. So what are your goals, like in the company? Like when you sat down with AJ, sat down with the team to come on board, did they have a set of goals they wanted you to accomplish, or did you bring something that's like, hey, here's what I think I can do for your company?
Yes. Sorry. The comment about my bangs was cracking me up.
I love it.
Oh, best. Oh, without a doubt, it's yeah. Well, it's one of those things. Like I said, I can never not wear a flat brim hat. If you change your hairstyle, it'll freak out the industry.
Well, so I know, because like I don't know if you know Tim at Cigars Daily. Like the whole joke is every time I'm on there, like it's this whole talk about my bangs, and so I've been actually trying to grow out my bangs because I've had these like literally since I was fucking born. And I was like, oh, it might be time for a new hairstyle. So I was like trying to let them grow out a little bit. But every week I'm on the road, someone's like, oh, I really like your bangs. I'm like, God damn it, I can never grow these out.
That'll be a half wheel article. That's like a press release. Like
Laurel Tilley gets rid of bangs.
Yeah, gets rid of bangs. Like that's how you make it in Cigar Aficionado. Like the first time. That's just
that's my claim to fame. I suppose it could be worse.
You need to like go ahead and do like the whole hair extension. Like try getting that done, or like a wig, and just like put that out there and see how people respond.
There was a time when I started in the cigar. Well, not when I started in the cigar industry, but when I started with General, I had very, very short hair. It was like almost like shaved at the sides, and then I had some hair on the top that I styled all edgy like, and it was really fucking cool until I tried to grow it out. And then I've had basically bangs since COVID. So yeah, I'm sorry. What was your question? The main things that I was going to do.
Okay, I'm like, I have no idea what we just went on a tangent. Yeah.
So the big thing from like an overall message to consumers and the people of the cigar world is just helping understand the difference between AJ portfolio and AJ collaboration. So that's a big initiative that we're trying to figure out with like events and social media and, marketing campaigns. But again, just kind of going back to the events thing, we don't really have any events, we're not doing a lot of sponsorship stuff. So kind of dipping our toe more into that realm as well. And even just stuff as far as like, how our presence in humidors and just our overall reach. So, we obviously touched on this earlier. It's as far as staff goes, it's a smaller company. So right now it's kind of coming on and just, there's like the main things that I would like to do. And then kind of just, figuring out how to get to that point, finishing other things to get those out of the way to be able to accomplish that, if that makes sense. Just the messaging, events, sales stuff.
That's what I was going to say. How that was my next one. Like, how do you plan on like accomplishing that? Is it just getting more events, out there? Is that one of the, the key?
I mean, we want to do more events moving forward, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be stuff like this, doing like interviews, podcasts, putting out some like video content. I mean, doing events, doing sponsorships. Unfortunately, it's just, you know, it doesn't happen overnight. To be able to kind of like change the perception and get people to think, you know, maybe differently about a brand or, you know, what the brand has to offer. So yeah, social media, you know, interviewers, media, stuff like that. And just having our presence, you know, we'll be at PCA this year and doing, you know, like Rocky Mountain Cigar Fest. And, you know, I just was out doing the Houston, Texas Cigar Festival, and, you know, I'll be at Smoking in the Carolinas, or that's called something different now. So, you know, just having our presence at those kind of events too. So yeah, it's a long game, but I mean, it was the same thing with Macanudo too. You know, when I came on board, it was, you know, people trying to think about Inspirato differently than, you know, like the Macanudo core line and, you know, kind of this changing brand. So
yeah, you know, so Matt had commented, and it's a good comment. I heard through a rep that I ran into Dallas that AJ is doing away with putting his name on all the collab cigars, that people aren't drawn away from the original blend or brand. And that goes with what you're saying, because I have heard that. And then sometimes myself, I get a little confused about what is AJ core and what is AJ like collab, like what is, because sometimes it's just goes like hand in hand. You just think that is an AJ, and that's, you know.
Yes, well, and people do think that it's, you know, I've heard, well, AJ makes his best cigars for other people, and I do not think that is true. AJ makes really good cigars for other people, but AJ also makes amazing cigars for the portfolio. I think it's more that people just haven't had exposure to the portfolio, or they maybe didn't know that they were smoking something portfolio as opposed to smoking something that was a collaboration. And as far as the Texas rep, you know, I can't speak to taking our name off of things. I mean, I know that the, you know, AJ Fernandez factory is still going to be on the boxes. There may be still a sub band, so I'm not sure moving forward what we're going to do as far as like, you know, the AJ name on collaborations. But yeah, we definitely are just trying to bring more attention to, you know, his own line, the portfolio stuff.
There you go, Matt. Now she's got to make a phone call in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, what
you will be hearing from me.
Yeah. What are you telling people? Shut your mouth. You know,
and I know who it is too.
Oh, geez. Thanks, Matt. You know, you chime in, talk about our bangs, and then, you know, stir that pot and then
drop that bomb.
Yeah. You know,
this cigar industry is so small and so chatty. You can't say anything without getting back.
Oh yeah, you know, and I've heard that as well. You know, like, oh, AJ he saves the best tobacco for other people. We've all heard that same thing, and then you hear every now and then someone, and I don't know if you've experienced, someone goes, I can't believe AJ let this cigar go. Like it's the best. Like, this cigar is amazing. How did AJ not put his fucking name on that cigar? You know, just like it comes out and it's like, give him something else. Let's keep this one to ourselves.
Right,
you know?
Right. Well, you know, and we have certain tobaccos that we use for our own blends that he's not using for collaborations, and there's certain processes. So there, you know, there is that difference. Like I said, I think, you know, he makes a lot of really good blends for a lot of other people, but I think the comment about having something that was a collaboration that's better than anything he's done for himself, I truly don't think that they thank you, Frankie. They truly haven't had anything from the portfolio blend. Like, I mean, I'm smoking the Bellas Artes oh my goodness, Habano. I can't even say Habano right now. And this is honestly one of my favorite everyday cigars. And so, yeah, I think people just need to kind of revisit or experience portfolio.
Yeah.
Now, is that the cigar you're smoking the most of out of like the AJ? Like, what do you smoke out of the portfolio, the core, and then out of his collabs? Like, what's like?
So the last collab I had was actually the Karen Berger. Ironically, I was at a store in the Nashville area, and I had a call with Frankie about this position, and I was like trying to get home to take this call, but I made the mistake of like, I won't say I made the mistake of going there, but like, you know, you just get caught up in conversation, and the conversation goes and goes and goes, and I'm looking at the time. I was like, holy fuck, I gotta get home, and then I like missed my window of opportunity. So like pacing outside, and it's like Bed Bath & Beyond doing this call, and I came back in, and she's like, oh, have you tried this Karen Berger by AJ Fernandez yet? And I was like, no, I have not. I was like, how serendipitous that I just had a call, but it was actually pretty funny. But as far as what I've been smoking from the portfolio stuff, I love the Bellas Artes, both the Habano and the Maduro. I don't think it's hard for me to say I like one more than the other because I think it depends on my mood. But if I had to choose, I think I give a little preferential treatment to the Maduro, just because I love a Matafina wrapper. It's got that like dried fruit sweetness to it, and it's just got so many different flavors going on. I've been smoking a lot of the Dorado. I actually had a Dorado in the Figurado for the first time just a couple of weeks ago. That was an awesome cigar, an awesome size. So Dorado, these, and the Last Call Habano. I've been smoking the shit out of the Last Call Habano.
I just lit up the San Latano. Kerr got me on the San Latanos a couple of years ago.
Okay.
I think he sent me like my first one.
Okay.
And
I can't remember what I sent you.
You sent a San Latano, the Ramona Iones, the Bella Artes, and then the Dorado.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think, which I've had them all. They're absolutely fantastic. I love the San Latano.
Yeah.
Because it's not not your grandfather's Connecticut. You know, I always say I hate when people use that term. It's not your grandfather's Connecticut. I'm going to stab the next maker, that says that. But
yes.
it is. I like it because it's one of the spicier Connecticut. It's an AJ.
Yeah.
It's an AJ wrapped in a Connecticut. That's,
yes.
If anybody needs to know what this cigar is, it's an AJ cigar with a Connecticut wrapper.
Well, and it's still, I mean, it's going to be definitely one of the more approachable blends for a newer smoker. The only Connecticut shades that we do is the one you're smoking, the San Latano, and then the New World. So the New World Connecticut is a Connecticut from Connecticut, and then the San Latano is an Ecuadorian wrapper. So it's going to have a little bit more of that spice. But yeah, you said it perfectly. It's an AJ cigar wrapped in a Connecticut.
That's it. That's all anybody has to know. Now you had said earlier, the Ramona Lones, that's a callback to AJ's, like the Cuban hair. I haven't heard that story. What is the story behind, the Ramona Lones?
We were talking about the New World and the San Latano. So the San Latano was kind of a callback to the Cuban cigar factory.
Oh, was it? The Cuban cigar? Oh, it was San Latano.
San Latano, yeah. Ramona Lones it's a name that's been around for a long time because it actually bounced between like STG had it for a while, and now we have it. So it's one of those heritage lines for sure. But yeah, San Latano is kind of paying homage to this original San Latano factory in Cuba.
Okay.
That was in the Fernandez family.
Oh, so that was in the Fernandez family. Okay. That I didn't know. Matt, you just can't beat an AJ cigar at the prices that he keeps them at. He's always has the consumer in mind. I agree. I don't understand like the pricing. Like I said, I don't understand the pricing structure. Like you smoke one of his core lines and you're like, how is this cigar not $18? How is the cigar not $20? I mean, it's a beautiful looking cigar. The presentation is beautiful. And then it's an amazing cigar. I guess just because his brother owns the box factory, he has the fields, so
good discount
with his Arabian horse money.
Yeah, that's what it is. Just throwing around his Arabian horse money, Kev.
Yeah, well, and I think part of it is just it's vertically integrated, right? We do everything, like you said, save for the box factory. So growing and producing and everything there. Helps keep the cost low. So I was very excited. We did not take a price increase this year. So I think that the cigars are reasonable. I mean, the last calls are super reasonable, but even, on the higher end, the Ramona Lones and the Bellas Artes still are not, they're in that normal, like kind of 10 to 12 price point for a premium cigar. So there's this moth like terrorizing my computer right now.
Yeah, but now you have your $10 to $12 cigar in 2023. That's like an introductory cigar. Like that's what people introduce a cigar at, 10 to 12 cigar, $10 to $12, to keep a cigar, that he's had for a while and keeps producing. And like you said, I think one of the, not the only companies, but one of the few big companies that didn't announce a price increase at all. This year.
Well, and I mean, you would think with inflation and everything else that it would be difficult to find a cigar that's decent for, $8 to $9. But I mean, we have a lot of offerings, and I mean, the entire San Latano and New World line are all kind of in that like $8, $9, maybe $10, depending on the size sweet spot. But there's a lot of other cigars out there that you can still get in that price point. I mean, when I started working retail back in 2011, that's how I always sold it when people would come in. They're like, oh, I'm looking for a premium cigar. And they're expecting to spend $20. I'm like, no, you can get a really good cigar for like $8. And it's cool that you still can.
Yeah, and some people don't want that. Some people they just don't think a $10 to $12 cigar is a premium cigar. You know, it's just they've got to go after the Atabays and they got to go after everything else. If it's not $22, it's not a premium cigar. So you got to get that through their head that it is. You can still get a premium cigar for $10 to $12.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I would say in the last 2 years I have seen a greater increase in demand for people wanting a more expensive cigar. Not only for the consumer to purchase, but for a retailer to sell. Oh, you don't have anything that's over $20? I don't want it. Crazy to me.
It is, Kerr. I know I've seen it. It's nuts. Have you been seeing it in your area as well?
Here and there. I mean, but you definitely have seen an increase on a demand and wanting a more expensive cigar. And like you said, Laura, I can't wrap my head around that. Especially when you talk about the smoking the cigar, the experience and what you're getting out of it, and you can get the same thing and buy 2 cigars for the same amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, there's really, really great cigars for $20. There's really great cigars for $30, but there's equally great cigars for $8, $9.
Equally great. That is it's a great term, and that's what it's what people should understand. But I think that the $20, $25 those, in my opinion, I could be wrong. Those aren't cigar smokers. Those are the guys going into the lounge maybe once a month. Maybe they're having an event that they want to go to. They're hanging out somewhere, and they want that $25 cigar because that's the only cigar they're going to smoke for that month.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. And I think I want to say Atabay started it. I think they're the ones that started that, garbage cigar. No, I don't want to say garbage cigar. I got in trouble for saying that a long time ago. For what I consider a mediocre cigar, for $25,
Yeah. Well, and I think it can be the same can be said in other industries too. And to your point, Kevin, when you're talking about maybe people who want those cigars, I don't want to say that they're I will let him know. I don't want to say that you're not a true cigar smoker if you are only asking for a higher price. But I think the people who are expecting to pay $20, $25, $30 are maybe novice coming in. They're out of town for business and they want to go to a cigar lounge and maybe they think they have to pay that for a premium cigar. But you look at like bourbon, whiskey, whatever, you can get a really good pour of something for $10, $12. You don't have to be spending $20, $25 on a pour. But I think for somebody who maybe doesn't know it well enough, it's like the expectation is that the higher the price, the better it's going to be. And we know that's just not the case.
Or they get that mentality of, oh, we're going out tonight. I'm going to go all out and buy myself a $30 cigar and enjoy myself.
Yeah. And I've had $30 cigars that were amazing and that were totally worth $30. And I've had $30 cigars that are like,
they better be pretty fucking amazing. The ones you had that
$30 for less.
I know. I said, that $25 price, like I said, I've had some Davidoffs that were $22, $25, some of the best cigars I've smoked. Then you smoke like a $30 whatever, Yamusa, whatever they have, and it's just like, wow, this is it's kind of a miss there, and then that, and I always think of that price too. That price factor is always in my head as I'm smoking it. It's like I have a hard time separating my brain from the price to the cigars. Like, is this cigar $30? Is it $20? Is it $25? And it's just like,
so you're not having a good experience, Kev, because you're sitting there going, I think it's going a little wonky. This is $30. It's going off a little bit.
I know, and it's like I'm sitting here in my office, my humidor's 10 feet away, and it's like I got $108 cigars that's better than this one.
Yeah.
So
well, it's like I don't have a discerning enough palate for wine. So there are wines that I know I can spend $15, $20 on and they're good. And I don't know why, but $15, $20 for a wine, for some of them are better than, my cheap ass paying $10 for a bottle of wine. Right. But once I kind of hit that threshold of like $25, $30, like I don't think my palate knows enough about wine to appreciate the increase in cost.
Right.
Yeah, you're right, and it's I think that's the same thing on the cigars, the tobacco. Like I don't, for me, I don't think I can appreciate. You hear the story about the 30-year-old aged tobacco or whatnot. And it's like, maybe this isn't for me. So same with wine. We got a Celestino up here. What is AJ's top selling cigar?
The New World Oscuro. The New World Oscuro kills it. And the New World Cameroon as well. Those are two of our top sellers.
Now Oscuro, some people, that's not a term you hear very much at all. Like the Oscuro. Explain to people what an Oscuro cigar is.
So our Oscuro for the New World Oscuro, and some people call it like the New World Nicaragua because it just was like the original New World, but it's basically like a dark Nicaraguan wrapper. So you get more of, it's a different fermentation process. You get more of those oils, and then it changes that color to be, darker in hue as well. Yeah, I mean, Oscuro is more of a process than it is, like obviously a tobacco. So.
Oh yeah, whenever I see Oscuro, honestly, I gravitate towards that cigar because you're going to get, like you said, you're going to get a darker cigar, and then some people don't like that darkness, but I always tell people, but you're going to get a sweeter cigar.
Yes, that's the misconception. I mean, I'm always yelling at people. I'm like, Maduro doesn't mean strong.
That's it. It was the first thing I was taught, many years ago, going into my first lounge and then not knowing the cigars. And I had said that, I'm like, oh, I don't like those dark cigars. And then, the lounge owner's like, in food, you eat with your eyes before you eat with your mouth. Same thing with the cigar. You smoke with your eyes before you smoke with your mouth. People see a jet black, the Cohiba Black. The cigar is black as midnight and it's sitting there and it's just like, it's scary looking, but then when you
it's
smoke
intimidating.
It is. And then you smoke it and you're like, oh my God, like it's smooth. It's sweet.
Exactly. It's all about what leaf it is, what are the interior, what's the binder, the filler, what are all the components? Is it Ligero? Is it, there's so many different factors. But I mean, I'm enticed by the cookies for sure.
Yeah.
But it's that misconception, and it's hard to generalize because people will say, well, as a newer cigar smoker, I mean, should a general rule of thumb be the darker the cigar, the stronger? I'm like, no, I mean, I've had cigars that look really benign that have kicked my ass. And I've had cigars that look super, super intimidating that were actually very mellow in strength. So it's just all about the components. Talk to your brick and mortar retailers. They will tell you. That's
it. They will tell you. I always tell them, keep a journal as well. Keep a journal of
the dossier.
That's it. Take your notes, and then at least, if you have that journal, you can walk into any good tobacconist, any good brick and mortar, and like, hey, I didn't like this, but I liked this, this, and this. And they'll be able to break down like, oh, hey, I noticed, on these 6 cigars you liked, this is like the key thing that they all have in common, maybe, and then you can expand out from there.
Or when somebody tells me they don't like Nicaraguan tobacco or they don't like Connecticut tobacco, I'm like, well, Connecticut shade or Connecticut broadleaf? They're like, Connecticut.
Yeah, Connecticut.
I don't like Connecticut. Right. It's a horrible state.
Yeah, it's a horrible state.
Actually, I heard their taxes are awful. So.
They are.
Oh my God! What are your speaking of taxes? What are your taxes there in Nashville, like the Tennessee? Like, are they?
Honestly, I don't know exactly what the tobacco tax is, but it's not that bad. Our sales tax here sucks, but the tobacco tax is not that bad. But offhand, I don't know what it is, to be honest.
So, did you come from a state without tobacco tax or without sales tax?
No, the sales tax was just half. Wisconsin was like 5.5%. In Milwaukee, it was 5.6 because we had a stadium tax. But Nashville is 9.5%. And I used to not get taxed on groceries. You get taxed on groceries here. We'll have like a month where they're like, oh, it's a month free of tax for groceries. And like everyone does their major grocery shopping.
Yeah.
But our tobacco tax in Wisconsin was a 50-cent cap.
Okay.
So on premium cigars.
So Laurel, when you're done with the sorting out the AJ core blend and sorting out the collaboration, I think your first idea to AJ is he needs to come out with a short run limited release of a Candela cigar.
Yes.
Candela, really?
And if he thinks it's a horrible idea, blame Kevin and me.
Oh, I will. I'm 100% throwing you under the bus.
Now, have you are you a Candela smoker? Is that something you've shied away from, or?
I have not smoked a Candela in probably like a true Candela. It's probably been 5 or 6 years. Alec Bradley does the Filthy Hooligan, which is that
Yeah.
barber pole. I think it's a
Yeah.
Habano and a Candela. I've smoked those in the recent years. But as far as like my last true Candela, I think it was actually the LFD, the Double Claro.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
And that one was pretty good. I find
Yeah.
Candelas to be a little too bitter for my taste. But I used to like the LFD one. I don't even know if they make it anymore.
Yeah, still make it.
Camacho back in like the Christian Aroa days did a really good Candela.
Yeah, that was the pre Davidoff days. That was like the Candela to end all Candelas. Like,
Yes.
that was
really good. They're actually their Candela now is actually probably the only for me is the only Camacho I'll smoke.
Oh really? I haven't had it in a long time.
It's not bad. The newer
I agree.
I was really impressed with their Candela because I was a little standoffish with it, but
Candela for Kevin one, right?
What's that?
Fuente had an 858 Candela for a while too.
It's one of the go-tos, very mild. Candela for Kevin and I is like a Manny's Oak Island.
Yeah,
we always have to mention it at least once during the interview.
That's it. Yeah, Illusione makes a good one. Someone actually sent me a couple of because they know that I like Candelas, iguanas, and they're from.
Oh, yeah, we haven't smoked them yet.
I smoked one the other day. It was good, and it was from like
Oh.
Thompson Cigar. It's like a $3 Candela, and I'm like, God, and he's like, oh, you should try it. I'm like, I am not going online and buy. So he sent me a couple. It was actually pretty good.
Really? So if I were going to go out and try one from like a Candela tomorrow, who would you suggest I try?
Illusione.
Yeah.
Illusione.
Okay.
Illusione for sure. LFD. I haven't had an LFD Candela in forever.
They're good.
But I remember them being good. But yeah,
they're good. A little bit more mild than I expect. Fuentes is always going to be a classic, and you got it. The 858. He came out with a Churchill, and I didn't like it. It just didn't translate well for some reason. But those were the two Candelas, like Kevin said. All Candela, great cigars.
Yeah. Now speaking of like sizes, AJ, you guys don't have any big cigars, do you?
Oh, we do. Yeah, we've got a couple 60s. Actually, we have 60s in most of the lines. Yeah, for the New World and the San Lotano.
Okay.
Some of them are 58s, but some of them are 60s.
Okay, because that seems to be a big thing last few years too, and that's and I remember a couple of years ago when that started taking off. Everybody was like, it's just a phase. It's just a phase, and it's never went away.
No.
To be honest, though, and I could be wrong. I usually am not. But when I first started in the cigar world back in 2011 in retail, that was just when big ring gauges were getting big. So 60s were really taking off, and then 70s and 80s and all these outrageous sizes. But you know what? There's obviously a market for it. And, I know like CLE, they're the kings of big ring gauges, and they freaking kill it. So that's awesome. But it seems that the demand for these bigger ring gauges, I don't even want to say has waned, but maybe it's leveled a little bit, and people are kind of going back to the more traditional sizes. Now, I can't speak for AJ because I don't know his thoughts on these, but I feel like the 60s and the 58s were probably something to, satiate the market more so than what he, a size that maybe he had a particular affinity for. I definitely try to stay more in like the traditional sizes. Like I don't really smoke anything above, honestly, like a 52 or a 54 is kind of my max ring gauge.
Yeah, I've had so many of my friends that were on the 60 bandwagon for so long, and then they go back to a 54, 56, and they're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I forgot what I don't want to say it in a negative way, but I forgot what cigars are supposed to taste like. Not like a 60 doesn't do it for me.
No.
I've never had a 60 ring gauge in anybody's blend that was anywhere near, their 54, 56.
Well, and you're messing with the ratio, right? Because you're dealing with like the wrapper, the binder, the filler. And I'm a huge advocate for, Lanceros and Panatellas and Lonsdales, all the sizes that nobody freaking smokes. Because I love that wrapper concentration. And you try to, yes, exactly. You try to explain that to someone, you're like, yeah, but you're getting more. And I think a Corona is kind of like the perfect ratio of wrapper, binder, filler. Yeah. And you just start to kind of like dilute it a little bit when you get up into these really, really big ring gauges. And, I've smoked bigger ring gauges that were perfectly fine. Like I don't dislike them, but just from not only the flavor, but the comfortability of actually smoking it, I prefer something typically like 52 or under.
Yeah, that was my thing is that I find it to be uncomfortable to smoke.
Yeah. And for me, even a 60, spending 2.5 hours smoking it's always left me wanting more. out of a cigar, as in flavor. And then I find this, I love Lonsdales, as in the flavor, but that's the same thing. I finish up a Lonsdale and it leaves me wanting more. It's like, oh, I just wanted, a little bit more out of that, and it's always time wise, on that, it's not like I wanted anything more from the cigar. It's like, that's why I just 56, 54.
Sure.
Perfect.
See, I'm a really slow smoker, so I never have that issue. And I try not to smoke Lanceros or Lonsdales or anything with a smaller ring gauge when I'm working because, you probably haven't, found this out about me, but I talk a lot. And so when I'm like working and talking to people, it's constantly going out and you're freaking relighting it every 2 seconds and it's getting like bitter and tarry. You're like, okay, this is not I'm working cigar. This is I'm sitting on my patio and enjoying it and thinking about it cigar.
Oh, exactly.
Amen.
So, I noticed that you were out at a cigar festival this past weekend. You did the what event did you the Charlotte Cigar Week?
So that was totally by happenstance. I did not go out. Yeah. Oh. So I did not go out there for Charlotte Cigar Week. So our rep Don, we were doing Don's great. We were doing some stuff with the Tinderbox out there, some training and events and stuff, and we were seeing some other people. It just happened to coincide with Charlotte Cigar Week. So Don he's connected with like the organizers and everything, and they had invited us to this dinner, and so we kind of crashed the dinner on the first night, and then just Charlotte, there's a lot of cigar shops, but when you're doing this like cigar week takeover and people are flying in from all over the country, you're bound to constantly run into it. So, we were kind of like tangentially, involved in it just from a being there standpoint, but we weren't doing anything like specifically for Charlotte Cigar Week.
Okay.
Now we were just mooching the food.
Did you get that? Did you get, visiting these lounges, did you get that itch? Like you wanted to set up a table and then, you wanted to start doing, cause when's the last time you did an event?
So I've done a couple events the last couple of weeks. But yeah, I would like to have involvement in Charlotte Cigar Week next year, if possible. But yeah, I mean, the problem is, even if I go somewhere and we don't have a formal event, I can't not talk about cigars. And I always have cigars on me. So it always ends up being like a mini pseudo event based on what Laurel has in her backpack.
Yeah. That's the way it should be, because I've met cigar makers here and there, not like I'm like, what do you got? Like, so I have like the big humidors, travel ones. Like, what do you got in there? And
I've given a lot of cigars to people on planes.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, as you should, So, all right. So we're actually winding out. I can't believe it's almost been 2 hours already. The time has just flown by. I have one last question. I'm going to put you on the spot with this one. Who was more fun to work with, Sean Williams or Rick Rodriguez?
Oh, you can't make me choose.
I'm going to make you choose. Which,
You must choose.
No, I plead the fifth. I love them both. In fact, I was just chatting with both of them yesterday.
I love the fact that Rick's daughter is in the industry now.
Oh, Sarah, she's great.
She's great. Awesome.
She is so amazing. We met her. We met her once.
No, we've met her like
twice.
Twice or 3 times. Yeah, she's so sweet.
Yeah, Sarah's great, and Ricky is really smart because he obviously went and launched West Tampa, and he's been doing the travel thing forever. I mean, it's been like 25 years or something crazy.
Yeah.
So I mean, to kind of bring Sarah up to be sort of the next face of that brand, I think is amazing for her and for him and for West Tampa. So I'm super proud of him and what he's doing. I'm going to just say Ricky because it's Sean. I love you. I love you both equally. This is not, I'm just simply saying this because I have to choose, simply because I worked with Ricky more. I always called myself his handler when I started with General. I came on as an event manager and I had to be like Ricky's,
Ricky
chauffeur.
He needed a handler. I didn't.
Well, that was not my official title, but when I started, it was definitely like, yeah. So I have a lot of like ridiculous Rick stories. So I think I'm gonna just have to go with him.
Oh, when we meet up with you sometime, I'm gonna need to hear some of these Rick stories.
Ridiculous Rick stories.
He'll be like, "Girl, don't tell these in public."
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. We wouldn't have you tell them in public here. So, Kerr, any final questions before we let Laurel go for the night?
Yeah, just one question, because you mentioned Don. He's awesome. And,
Oh, you know Don, awesome.
Yeah. He does the events down here in South Carolina, and we always get out. The last event I went to, they did have the event cigar, which was the Pinolero.
Yes.
Any potential of that coming out as a full-time brand or thrown into the portfolio?
Right now, we do not have it slotted for that. I think it's going to continue to remain an event-only cigar. So short answer, currently no.
Okay.
I haven't.
Great cigar.
I've never been to an AJ event, so I don't know what's up with the cigar. Can you tell us
So
about
the
that?
Pinolero is something that we had done in the past. Sorry, these moths are like outrageous right now. Something we had done in the past, and right now we're using them as a 3-pack for event-only cigars. They're a nice medium-bodied. They're really, really. I hate to use the word earthy because whatever, but it's a really like complex palate feel. Just a good medium, little bit of spicy, like quintessential kind of like that Nicaraguan earthiness, a little bit of a drier palate feel. It's a very different flavor. It's difficult for me to articulate, but it's different than everything else we have in the portfolio.
It definitely has that flavor, like you said, it's earthy, but it has that aged tobacco flavor to it, and it has a lot of transitions to it when I smoked it, and it is really just a fantastic cigar.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, I've actually only smoked maybe 3 or 4 Pinolero in my life.
Okay, so what's the size of that cigar?
So those we have it's like a little perfecto.
Oh, okay. So it's like just invent, like you buy a box, you get like a cigar or
It's
Yeah.
a 3-pack.
It's
I think
a
I got a
little
3-pack.
3-pack.
Yeah, a
It's a
little
3-pack.
3-pack coffee. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll have to everybody keep your eye out for the next AJ event, and you'll have to pick some of those.
Matt said, "Isn't this an event?"
Yeah, isn't this an event? This is an event.
I just ignored that comment.
Yeah. So Laurel, thank you so much for. I mean, like I said, it's 2 hours. I can't believe this time has just flown by. Oh, hey, one of the Dorado challenge coin. How do people get this? How do people get this?
So Starkey sent those out to everybody. So when the Dorado came out, he wanted to send it. So it went to like a lot of media folks. People like in groups and Instagram and podcasts and cigar shows and everything. Just as a kind of fun little, thanks for supporting the brand, and hey, try this and maybe talk about it.
Okay, yeah, Jessica got it. I didn't get one, so but that's cool. She got she got the media pack. Kevin. Yeah, I will take it personally. So
it's for you to share, Kev.
That's it. Like I said earlier, she got the hat as well that she occasionally lets me wear.
Nice. Do you like the Dorado? Did you smoke it?
I love it. It's probably the AJ that I smoked the most of.
I almost
fantastic.
didn't let him smoke any. After I first smoked it, I was like, I don't think I'm going to.
Yeah, they sent her like a 3-pack, and luckily I think one of them was it was either a Bellicoso or a Toro, or a Bellicoso or a Torpedo.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's my jam right there.
Sure.
So I'm like, I'm taking that.
You're like, well, unfortunately for you, my name was on the package, so
yeah.
Looks like none came for Kevin.
Yeah, that's it.
That's funny.
So, all right, Laurel, thank you so much
Thanks, Laurel.
for giving us a couple hours of your Monday night. We definitely
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
it. So, all right, we won't wait 2 years to have you on again.
Perfect.
All right, you have a great night.
You too. Thank you, guys. Thank
Good
you all.
night.
You're welcome. Bye. All right, so everybody start typing in the word cigar for our Tapping Ash and Taking Names giveaway presented by Amendola Family Cigars. In the meantime, let's hear a word from our sponsor,
Ooh, I like
Corona
that.
Cigar. Jess is better looking. She is better looking than me. right, it's time for the Tapping Ash and Taking Names giveaway presented by Amendola Family Cigars. All right, tonight's giveaway, we got a 3-pack of cigars from Amendola Family Cigars. We've got a little 4-pack from the Picadillos from Southern Drawl Cigars, and we've got a cool lighter from Illusione Cigars.
Very
so let's
cool.
go ahead and share this.
Yeah, I'll see if I have any more of those event cigars. They were really good.
Yes,
they were fantastic. I think it was when they were introducing the Dorado cigar at the event. I probably paid for Don's mortgage at that event. I think Daryl was sending me a request too, so I left with a lot.
Danny Crook won.
Danny Crook, send me an email,
Danny.
Send me an email, Kevin@cigarprop.com, and we'll get you your prize pack out to you. Laura, we're going to bring you back up here in a minute after the show. Next week, we welcome Jason Wood of Miami Cigar to the show. I've never talked with Jason, so I've never even met him personally, so kind of interested to hear his story. Make sure you're following Cigar Prop producer Jessica, Kerr Viajante of Stogie Road Cigars, Laurel Tilley of AJ Fernandez Cigars. In the social media links, or their social media links are in the video description as well, the podcast description, if you're listening to this in the future. Also in the show notes are the social media links for all of our fine partners that make this show happen each and every week. We want to take a moment to thank them once again. So thank you to JC Newman Cigars, CigarMedics, Amendola Cigars, We Are the Muscle, Jake Wyatt Cigars, Illusione Cigars, Deep in Flavor, Deep in Your Mind, K by Karen Berger Cigars, Corona Cigar, and of course, Drew Estate and Experience Acid. Kerr, leave us with some final thoughts for the night.
A good cigar isn't always the most expensive cigar. Talk to your tobacconist and you'll be surprised what you'll find for $8, $9, $10.
Exactly. And then don't be afraid of that black cigar.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of the dark. Dark cigars are not scary.
Dark cigars are not scary. So, all right, everybody, we'll see you next week.
Yeah.